All right. Hello. Welcome, everyone, to Critique Revolve. I am Michael, your host. And in studio today are three very strappingly handsome good men. Ryan,
Kill me now, I'm here, do it.
you finally found an appropriate time and place to do your little
Stick
impersonation. We also have Thomas. Hello, Thomas.
Hello.
And David.
How's it going?
All right. So today, what we're going to be discussing, the four of us have convened at the Critique Revolve Roundtable to discuss Hulu's Predator prequel titled Prey, directed by Dan Trachtenberg of 10 Cloverfield Lane fame.
Yep.
Written by Patrick Eisen and story by Trachtenberg as well. It has a running time of 1 hour and 39 minutes and premiered exclusively on Hulu. I'm sure they're kicking themselves now. Prey is a film based on the Predator franchise and produced by the Comanche Nation, which I thought was interesting.
Super cool.
It is the 5th installment in the series and is a prequel to the first 4 films, being set in the northern Great Plains in Northern America in 1719. The film was directed, as I said, by Trachtenberg, Dan Trachtenberg. It stars Amber Midthunder, Dakota Beavers, Michelle Thrush, Stormy Kipp, Julian Black Antelope. Can I be Native American?
Dude, the names are dope,
Can
right?
I have when can we get cool names?
When can we get?
We
cool
can't.
Yeah.
We cannot. Mine would be white sour cream. That would be my name.
Sit on thumb.
Yeah.
Thumbs.
Yeah. Like that, we can't have cool names, okay? That's just not fair.
Dildo in S. That's so offensive.
That's incredibly offensive. That'll probably get cut.
Yeah, that will be. So the synopsis: Naru, a skilled warrior, fights to protect her tribe against one of the first highly evolved predators to land on Earth. Now, the Predator franchise, and this isn't a mystery to anyone out there, it's a peculiar franchise.
That is.
That's
It's-
one way of putting it.
It's been struggling since the first film
Highs
was
and
released
lows.
in
Yep.
1987.
Yep.
Since the first film was released in 1987, what was that? Over 30 years ago.
Yep.
It has never quite found firm footing.
From the first movie,
From the
yeah.
first film, yeah. But it still has garnered a fairly passionate and
Crazy
dedicated fan base
Yep.
that has kept it alive and I would say definitely relevant within pop culture.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Big time.
Now, in my opinion, this film has managed to do what other sequels have not been able to do and deconstruct, I would say, some of the overused tropes and make them feel slightly unique. But also, there was careful attention placed on performance and character development,
Yeah.
which hasn't really been at the forefront or privileged in any way, shape, or form in any of the other Predator
No.
Yeah.
interactions or iterations, I should say. So that was nice. And don't get me wrong, there are great moments in the 2010 Predators as well as Predator 2 and even the AVP movies. But they were all missing one thing, and that was nuance, which
Yes.
this film
Has
has.
tons.
Has tons.
And we're going to get into that in greater detail in a moment. But first, I'd like to go around the studio one by one and get everyone's initial thoughts. Try to keep it to about 60 seconds to 90 seconds. And we have to start with Ryan because Ryan is the biggest Predator fan
Yeah.
of all time. In fact, that's how we were talking about this before the show.
That's how Mike and I met.
That's how you and I met. And I didn't even put it together until
Yeah.
tonight in the studio. You were introduced to me as the cosplayer that does Predator.
Yeah.
That does the Predator cosplay with you played, what military officer were you?
So from the first movie, I was Blaine, Jesse Ventura's
Jesse
character.
Ventura's
And you look
Have
great.
you had sex in the costume?
No, that'd be great though. But yeah.
I don't
So
believe you.
as most of the people in the room, Predator is my all-time favorite movie.
Like,
it's
you-
number one.
super
Really?
geek.
I've
super
seen it.
geek
I've
for
seen it
I've
probably.
never known that was your favorite.
I shit you not. I've
Okay.
probably seen it over 300 times.
That's excessive.
I've seen it at least 20 times with Steve. dude, it is
one of
my
those
You and
movies
Steve
you
got to
can't-
do other things.
Dude,
What
it
do you
is-
guys do? Just call each other up? Hey,
Jerk
wanna
No,
off
watch?
like so
Island.
back when like we were going to like airsoft games, we would put it on before like the night
okay.
before and like watch the
Hype
movie.
yourself.
Yeah,
up
pretty
for
much.
the fucking fight.
You guys would be the guys in the chopper,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. Long
Such
Tall
a-
Sally
Long
would be
Tall Sally.
playing.
Jesus.
Long Tall Sally.
Have me some fun.
So yes.
So jerk off was correct.
Yes.
So
yes.
Ryan, biggest fan of all time. You're ridiculously like into it. Give me your thoughts on this film.
I will be completely honest. When they announced this film, I was concerned. The original movie is still by far, in my opinion, top 5 movies all time. Like you could legitimately watch it, and it hasn't changed. It does not age. It has some of the best one-liners in the history of one-liners. And the cat,
Give me one right now.
stick around. Like, come on, dude. Like he throws.
the dagger.
He throws the knife
throws
into
the
a
knife.
guy and he says, "Stick around." Are you kidding me? I mean, I could.
So corny.
That's what makes it great,
What set the stage for those types of one-liners? Because that became part of
Limited
his
vocabulary.
repertoire
dude. it
in
was a
every
thing.
movie.
Yeah,
Like,
you know,
even in Eraser, he's all, "You've been erased."
dude,
It's limited vocabulary
Billy,
and cocaine.
Billy,
That's
get
what
me out of this
fueled
hole.
the 80s.
Billy, get me out of this hole. Like, there's just so many lines in that movie that are fantastic, and
He's really tired.
it's so good.
He just killed the
I know
guy.
these men, Green Berets out of Fort Bragg. Like, there's just so many lines, bro. Like, but the thing with that movie, and in my opinion, it's the quintessential monster you see at the end of the movie. And Stan Winston's design, his classic design of the Predator, is by far one of the best monster movies ever, or monsters in a movie ever. So for me, like, you know, I read a little bit of the comic books. I had this thing with the Predator, man. It was just such a cool looking monster. Everyone's like, it's a horror movie. I'm like, this movie's not a horror movie. It's a dope ass movie.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing
action
scary
movie.
about this.
Action
It's an
thriller.
action thriller. Like, and so when they announced this movie, I was a little apprehensive just because, God, this is gonna sound so bad and make me sound like a shithead, but it was I thought, woke, let's make a girl be the main character, badass. And then I had to step back and realize that Aliens had Ripley. I had to realize
Not
that
a competent writer.
yes, and the fact that so I had to take a step back. I will say this movie is phenomenal. I found myself jumping off my couch, I shit you not, in a couple of the scenes that almost blew me away. I had a few gripes, and
Were
these
you
are
shadowing the fight scenes?
no, I wasn't doing that. I'm not
Yet.
Oh.
Not yet. I have to watch it again. But I will say I had
He's
a
like,
couple. I
he's
had
like
a
Jim Carrey and Cable Guy.
stupid. I had a couple nitpick gripes, but these were more or less designs.
Okay,
But we'll get to that
yeah,
later.
we'll
but,
get to that.
But as far as the movie goes, I was pleasantly surprised to the point where I'm like, "Fuck, this is
Yeah.
really good."
I know, because I know you weren't overly excited about this.
No, I
because
wasn't.
I was sending you messages the moment the trailer was
I was like,
released.
eh.
I thought you were going to be super giddy,
Yeah.
and you were very just.
I was very reserved because,
Yeah.
and I think it has to do with some of the other movies that came out. And I think
Right.
like the AVP was okay, you know. Predators with Adrian Brody. I kind of
Was
I
fun,
did
yeah.
I dug that one. I liked Predator 2. I know a lot of people didn't like that one, and obviously Predator. But I was apprehensive because I've been through so many facets of this character and this fandom and genre, and I was like, man, we can't fuck up again. And that was kind of my thought process on it.
Yeah.
So that's where I was with this.
Okay, Thomas.
So I've been more of a fan of Predator versus Alien in the science fiction war of those two entities. I liked Predator 1. It's a great movie, great flick. I don't know why so many people had problems with Predator 2 for the longest time. I thought that one was solid. Predators
Maybe I
was-
need to go back and rewatch it.
Dude,
Predators
it's
was kind of
underrated.
like lukewarm to me. Like I liked some of it, but I felt like parts of it were lacking. I have not seen the apparently shittiest one,
Don't watch
Predator.
it. You don't need to watch it.
I saw this one. I liked AVP.
Think of a
1.
rocket that flies, takes off
Challenger.
with all of its glory and might, and
it
then
just explodes.
The Challenger.
yeah.
Challengers.
Wow, it's a little early for that joke, but yeah, sure.
Is it? And then I really liked AVP. The first one, as simplistic as it was.
I
I
liked the
enjoyed the
second one.
fight. But Requiem I thought was hot garbage on a plate.
I didn't hate that one.
So for me, I kind of went into this kind of lukewarm because there has been some of that
Yeah, it's
woke
been hit or miss.
aspect
Yeah.
of it's going to be. The biggest disappointment to me is that it makes it a template that I know what I'm going to see going into it.
Yeah.
When I see a lot of the same specific tropes, but this one it has a few things that I wasn't super keen on, but overall it's a really enjoyable movie. It's probably the most cinematography boom for this series in a long
Oh, easily.
time.
Yeah, I agree.
And I liked that aspect as well. And the concept, while I was a little cringe at first of like, it's going to go back in time, it's just going to wreck them with plasma cannons and shit. They
did a good job.
Did a decent job with that. So overall, yeah, I enjoyed this one.
Of demilitarizing the
de-escalating.
Predator. Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Even though he's
interesting.
still a fucking badass.
Yeah, see, David, go ahead.
Now I'm going to surprise you, Mike. That I was highly anticipating this movie for the past 2 years.
Really?
It is.
He even
in my
learned
top
Comanche
5.
because of it.
It was in my top 5 of most anticipated films. Why?
Really?
Because I love the Predator and Alien franchises.
Okay.
I loved them since I picked up comic books since Dark Horse days, and I just had this gut feeling when News of Prey first came out. Everyone jumped on the bandwagon. Oh, it's gonna be a woke thing. It's gonna be like this woman beating up a predator.
And
And
then
then-
we get over that. Like, just because a woman is a lead doesn't mean it's woke. Come on,
I
internet.
immediately,
I mean,
was
I don't
like
know.
going,
Lately, that's
no.
85% of the films has.
If
yes.
we had the
Yeah.
same strength of writing as we did when Aliens
Yes.
and Terminator 1 and 2 came
Yes.
out, I would have zero problem.
Bro,
The problem
Sarah
is
Connor
they make
was the shit,
they've made a lot of they don't have to overcome anything because they're perfect, which I like that this did not have.
Yes.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Because it makes the characters less interesting. Whereas Ellen Ripley is fucking amazing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Sarah Connor, the two of them are the best
I mean,
fucking
let's-
female representation we've ever had.
I mean, Sigourney Weaver. I mean,
Yeah. All
And,
right.
like-
Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
And like especially with this idea, I thought was the perfect thing for the franchise because up until this point, while I know everyone's been saying the Predator franchise has been floundering since The Predator, which was the only Predator movie that I hate.
it's fucking terrible.
Any other Predator movie, I love. I absolutely love. It's up there in
Even
my
AVP?
rewatch. Even AVP, even Requiem.
AVPR.
I had so much fun with
That's so
Requiem
dumb.
because Requiem,
boring.
the concept of Requiem though was messed up, and I loved it
The
because
concept's great, but there's only
the
one predator. So
aliens-
guess who's going to win
they
every
took
fight?
the aliens and basically told people, oh,
He doesn't get it.
they're going to actually give birth to an alien now, where they're going to impregnate you.
I
Not
love that.
it's no
Wait,
longer
what?
a face hugger. That hybrid alien could go around and rape you.
That's,
Well, I feel like we
Wow, that's-
skipped over something there, but
David likes raping.
okay, wow, it's very rapey vibe in here
And
now.
it-
I'm not sure I want to stay.
But it ramped up the horror element
I
of
just
everything.
had a problem with the fact
Thankfully,
that it's
abortion
alien.
has been banned.
Oh,
Oh.
now it's sad.
Wait.
But
I had a problem with the fact that it's Alien versus Predator, and there's one Predator and 80 aliens. So guess who's going to win until the end of the movie?
You know what
It's
they
gonna
it
be
takes
the-
all the threat away.
You
Yeah.
know what, you
So
know
I'm
what
just
they call
sitting
that
there
predator?
watching.
Lone wolf predator. It's literally what he's called.
yeah,
Yeah.
Lone Wolf.
See, that's an interesting point, Thomas. And if we had time and we
Yeah.
weren't all dying of COVID the last 2 months, then we probably could have done some little reviews
build
leading up to this.
Yeah.
But and I know this goes against some of the things I say. I enjoy. I don't like Predator 2 too much. I struggle with that one.
But he just doesn't like Danny
but
Glover.
AVP, both of them, I enjoyed them.
I enjoyed 'em.
For the shitty B filmness
Yes.
that they are.
I like the first one for the shitty B moviness.
You
that it
like the
is.
random girl that gets a spear and now can kill aliens? That was
Well,
super
that I
cool.
don't care about. I only cared about watching the aliens versus the predators and that spinning backflip jab into the queen's head at the end.
Okay,
that
that
was
was-
pretty fucking.
there,
pretty
there
cool.
were
That was
cool
pretty-
moments.
There were
and,
cool moments.
And
Yeah.
debatably, this is what I like about this franchise, because debatably or arguably, you could say the true protagonist of the show has always been the Predator.
It's a predator.
Predator.
Yeah, it's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
and
that-
and maybe that justifies what a complaint that I had at the beginning of the show, or one of my issues with Predator franchise of the lack of character development. Because really, the characters that are developed in each movie are the Predators, and
Yeah.
that's the single greatest thing they've done in every single film, even AVP,
Yeah.
that has now been retconned out of both universes, Alien as well as Predator, they've managed to build on the Predator species
Right.
themselves.
Yeah, every single film. Every single film, there's a little bit of lore you get. Even in like Predators with the Adrian Brody film, the different Predators in there were all had different characteristics that added to the mythos.
Yep.
The Yautja.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the name of their species.
And they were badasses, man. I mean, that samurai scene, the samurai between him and the Yakuza,
God,
that was
dude,
cool.
Dude, I can only get so erect. And that scene.
Well, we're gonna rank
Yeah.
the Predator films at the end. So
Oh, great.
Oh, great. And then, like, so overall, I went in and made this film at least top
was
5
way-
most anticipated.
He was way more psyched than I was.
Also,
you know,
because-
David, to kind of side with you for a moment, if I had known the director Trachtenberg was going to be doing this,
Exactly.
I
That
didn't
was-
pay attention. But if I were paying attention, or if I was paying attention, then I probably would have had a little bit more enthusiasm going
for it.
into this and excitement, because what he did with Cloverfield.
Mhm.
I mean, they have been how many Clover films have there been now? 4, 3,
Three, I thought.
and
And a show, right?
His is the best.
His is
one
the best
by
one.
far, and his stories are interesting. He has
Which
a
one did
style.
he do?
He takes
first
Cloverfield Lane, the second
Cloverfield
one,
Lane,
the second
the
one.
one that's actually really good.
Is that the one with
John Goodman.
John Goodman? Okay, yeah, I've seen that.
And then, like, but the fact that basically you got that filmmaker in automatically made me think that, okay, they're going to downscale Predator, which they should. You know, like, that's what makes the Predator awesome.
They made it smaller.
Is They made it smaller in scale, and it made me doing so. It makes you feel more passionate about the character's plight.
It also
in my
gives it a
opinion-
bit of an indie flair.
Yeah, it gives it a bit
Yeah.
of an indie flair, and it's just something that
It slows
about this film.
down.
It slows it down,
That's
Yeah.
a good way of saying it. They slow it down and they streamline it.
and it's very
It's-
reminiscent of, as funny as it sounds, the first movie, because
Well,
the
it's
first
it's
movie.
essentially the same plot.
But you have to
Yeah.
remember it slows it down in the way of by demilitarizing the Predator.
Exactly.
You take the Predator, you take away his plasma caster, you take away these things that make the Predator, and you give us a much bare bones, visceral, hand-to-hand combat Predator where we didn't get that with the last couple Predators.
Yes.
And I think that's what makes this movie slow and more methodical in a good way. And like you said, Mike, more of a character development story on all of the characters,
And I
not
was-
just the Predator.
And one of the things I knew about this project ahead of time, Mike, makes my mind boggle, because originally, a long time ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago, the original concept was going to pit the Predator in this type of scenario against Native American, but also on top of that, the Vikings were supposed to come in. And it was going to be kind of like a bridge
Oh,
of seeing
man.
That
of
would've been pretty
Vikings,
fucking
the
epic.
Vikings and the Native Americans battling this Predator.
Oh man!
And then I was like,
But that's several hundred years.
Yeah, there's a big time
Yeah,
gap.
there's a
there.
bit
Well,
time gap,
Vikings. Well,
but that's why I was like going, when they took away the Vikings, I was like, okay, maybe they'll save that for later, like,
Well, now they will. Yeah.
Well,
after the
because now
success
you
of
can go
this.
back in time and basically say the Predators, and that's the one thing about this franchise that I love, is ever since the first 2 movies, they established that the Predators have been on
Hunting
Earth
for a while.
hunting for a while, that only the secret government
The
agencies knew
lore,
about
the
it.
lore here of the Predator species is incredible.
Is incredible.
And there's so much they can do. And I think this is a great starting point for a trilogy or
Relaunch.
I mean,
a
not to-
relaunch.
I'm
of-
gonna try to give you an image, Ryan, that'll just make you
Yeah,
orgasm
feudal
right
Japan.
now. Northman meets the Predator.
I mean, that'd be cool, but feudal Japan would be.
Feudal
want- I
Japan,
know
the
you.
samurai.
Look at your tattoos. You know
Dude,
you
I'd have a
want that.
fucking absolute raging boner the whole
Personally,
movie.
I'd like to get a straight up Western.
Dude.
imagine, like,
That would be awesome. And see,
Dude,
that's the
he's
beautiful
sick,
thing
bro.
about it now.
They can do anything with
They
it.
could
Would
do
they put
anything
Cad
with it.
Bane's hat on the Predator? Is that how they would? Is that no?
Medieval knight sword and
especially
shield versus
especially
Predator.
as and there was a lot of criticism I saw online. People didn't jive with some of the elements of the story, like the very end where you allude that there's more Predators coming, and I'm like going,
Yeah.
no, I want that. I want you to tell me, yeah, the Predators have
Oh,
been here for a
that's not
while.
Well, that's
Yeah,
not
gimme,
the
gimme.
gripe I had with it.
Oh,
So
but there's
I-
so many people that thought
Yeah,
that
and
was
the
cheesy.
after credits.
The after
Well, or
credit
the
thing.
credits imagery. Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was just reiterating what he was saying.
But overall, I'm not
You were
kidding.
excited for this
I
one.
was super excited about this one.
Wow.
And the fact that it was free on Hulu just made it even better.
See, I'm against that. Like, I understand what they're doing.
know.
And
He sent
I
Hulu
know.
a check and said, "Hey, I'm going to pay $10 for this movie."
No. Meaning,
I know what you mean.
imagine if this was on the theater.
Bro,
Oh my
th-
God,
this
dude,
made
dude.
It would have made.
so much money.
I think
Imagine this on the
it
big
would have been a
screen, Mike.
huge risk, obviously, especially after 2018's disaster. So it would have been a big risk. But imagine if they released it, it was slow going on that first weekend. Then the positive word of mouth
Just-
comes out, followed by the 92% Rotten Tomato score.
Tons of money.
It would have,
Dude.
the second week would have fucking blown up.
Between like we're starting to see some of that happen at the box office now.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick, Prey has done fantastic. Like I can't. There's another one that I'm blanking on right now. But we're starting to see mediocre and frankly just outright shit reviews for a lot of the expected big things for the year.
Yep.
And we're seeing unexpected box office smashes for people wanting to go to the theater to see something else that isn't written by Marvel and Disney.
That's how the 90s were, and the
Yeah.
80s and the 70s. You had these sleeper hits
Options.
because movies had opportunities. Studios had opportunities of putting films in people's faces. And maybe that's the beautiful thing about streaming, that without streaming, maybe we wouldn't have had these options because this movie would never have been made after the 2018 disaster of the last movie, which was
Right.
very large in scale, and the budget was a lot.
Astronomical.
Yeah, and Disney.
What was? Okay, I'm gonna look it up now.
It was a lot.
It was a disaster. So honestly, like, streaming has been able to be successful in the sense that it has allowed certain films to be made, because if we only had theatrical releases, I don't think we would have seen a Predator movie for the next 10 years.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you have to remember is that expectations after a turd are typically very low.
Yeah,
So when you
that's
go
true.
in, when you go into a movie and your expectations are low, and they give you some hot fire like this movie is, you literally come out going, "Holy fuck!" It's the same thing that happened with the Batman.
Yep.
Expectations were so
Yeah.
low for that movie, and then people went in and go, "Holy fuck! The movie's amazing." And I think it's a double-edged sword, because you don't want your last thing to be a dumpster fire.
No.
But then at the same time, your last thing's a dumpster fire to make your new thing this fucking amazing thing. Now, this movie is amazing, and I'm not saying that it's because of the last movie shitting the bed. No, this movie is fantastic. And I think streaming has put these movies in people's faces faster.
Yep.
And I don't know if
It's a bit of a catch-22.
It's a catch-
I would say,
22
yeah,
because,
there's
like,
a lot
it
of people
puts-
who watch this because it was
it's
on Hulu and free.
There's probably
Right.
a ton of people that would have waited a week or two to go see this in the
Yeah.
theater, and the numbers would have been skewed.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a bit of a catch-22 when
Yeah.
you look at it that way, because I know at least 3 people that watched this movie after I said this movie's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they
Well, look
wouldn't
at
have-
all of us.
Are we the three?
We all watched it immediately. I
Yeah.
had friends send me messages because a lot of them view this as a Western. So they were like, "Have you seen
Yeah,
it?
have you seen it?
Have you
Yeah.
seen it?" So I got a lot of messages from people that have already watched it, which usually doesn't happen with a theatrical release. So
Right.
I do see the pros and cons, and I understand the great benefit that comes with streaming. But how much do you want to bet the sequel is going to be theatrically
for sure.
released?
Oh, easily.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so because there are a lot of us in the studio, I want to give everyone the opportunity to share things that they liked about the film in a more streamlined fashion. So we're going to each share 2 to 3 aspects of the movie that we really liked. And these can be elements of cinematography, production design, art direction, a specific scene, action choreography, stunts, visual effects, directing, whatever. But we do got to keep it to 2 or 3 at the most.
Okay.
And I want to start.
Okay.
I just want to start with you again because this is kind of your thing, Predators.
Man, this is
It's
tough.
going to be 14 years before he gets to do this.
Yeah, it's probably true. One of the first things that really stood out to me was honestly the main character. Her progression from kind of like, she doesn't kind of know where she fits in with the tribe. And I honestly enjoyed her kind of assimilation to Hunter. Because at the beginning, you believe that there's no way she could take out a predator. And then by the end, you're like, well, fuck, she's pretty fucking smart.
Yes.
And that sets her apart. Her brothers and everything are visceral and they can fight, but they're not very smart.
They're not very smart.
Her brother's pretty smart, but most of them are not
Her
very smart.
brother's good, yeah.
Her brother's good. But one of the things that really blew me away and caught me off guard was the Predator's cloaking. Let's be honest. The original movie is probably the one downfall of that movie is that the cloaking doesn't look all that great. And that's just because of the time.
I kind of like it. I
I
think
like
it's
it. I'm not saying I don't like it.
It's got this weird otherworldly vibe that really fits the
Not
the
saying
tone.
I don't like it, just saying that it fits the tone of the movie
Right.
from 87.
Yes.
Now, obviously, technology in 2022 is way different. And I think the way they portrayed the cloaking and the hexagons and the way it cloaked, you have to remember this is set before the original movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So the way they made it look where you can still kind of see him
Yeah.
because it's not perfected yet.
Well, it's also
Exactly.
anything that touches it fucks with it.
Exactly.
And
So
that was the thing that I really liked is because that showed that there was thought process that we're dealing with a Predator story that
it's 300 years
is 300
before.
before when we see him take on Arnold and
Right.
company. And when he was facing Arnold and company, they had the plasma. Their technology was
way
vast.
better.
Advanced.
And I think
What they
that's
had.
I loved the thought process on that and the prop department. But the overall the cloaking threw me off. I really enjoyed the way they did that. And I think as a huge Predator fan, to watch them not dumb down, but move the Predator's technology back in time where it still made him the advanced hunter,
And it made sense.
but it was also way less for him.
That was one of my favorite things. You're talking about the low tech,
Yes.
Just taking something that, yes, he's still more overpowered,
kind of like reverse engineering.
engineering
Yeah.
stuff, and I think that was super cool. But the
I-
cloaking,
I
just-
like that part quite a bit too. The whole giving this Predator from 300 years in the past. Obviously technology that is
advanced for the time,
right.
but not advanced to the point that you see in the original movie.
Correct.
original
And I
movie.
like that because that was one of my complaints about AVP. You're talking about Aztec time.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
1400s.
They had plasma casters then.
And everything looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't compute with such an
No.
evolved species of aliens that you would think that their technology would progress. So I like that. And that's why I said at the beginning, the thing that really worked for me with this film is the nuance. It's
Yeah.
things like that. It's the detail.
Well, it's what it is it goes to show you that the writers and the prop department got together and said, okay, we need to really think about the lore of the Predator. And we really need to think about, let's use some aspects from the original movie, but let's also make it where you said low tech. And I think that as a Predator fan, seeing that makes me go, oh man, that's really
that
cool.
shield was so fucking cool.
The fucking
Oh, yeah.
shield was cool, but the cloaking, I just don't know why that threw me off. It looked so fucking good.
And when you think about it, because they had to go low tech, they had to increase it almost increased the horror factor of the Predator because he has to be more brutal.
He has to be more hand to hand.
He has to be more hand to hand.
And if
so,
you look at all the
like,
other movies, it's mostly plasma caster.
I think the scene that sold it for me with that type of idea that this is a low tech Predator was, I think it was the wolf that charged him in the
Yeah.
very beginning,
Yeah.
and he just rips his head off.
Yeah.
Like, wham! No, I'm not going to use a plasma caster. I'm not going. Normally in Predators, in the Predator movies, you'd see him shoot the net, you'd see him throw the disc,
Yeah, the disc.
or throw the spear. No, this Predator is like low tech. He's like going, I don't have that stuff.
He just bitch slaps
He
the
just
fucking wolf.
bitch slaps it, grabs it, and rips his head off.
I didn't
with
like
the
that part.
spine.
I was like, fuck that.
And
What?
but
I would have given this movie a horrible review if the dog died. I'm like,
Oh,
go fuck
okay.
yourself.
I am on this. If her dog would have died, I'd have been out. I'd have not done
I
this
think
review.
that's a rule, though, Mike, that they can't kill
I
the
mean,
character's dog.
Wolf don't give a shit.
I was so happy that he just disappeared. Every time there was a gruesome
You were
fight
like,
scene, he was gone. I'm like,
he's
good
gone.
dog
boy.
is smart.
Good
dog.
boy.
It's smart dog.
Good boy. Go
Smart
hide.
fucking dog.
I'm going to lead the bear away, and then I'm getting the fuck out.
You know what's funny, Mike? While I was watching this, I'm going, if Mike's watching this movie as well, he's not gonna. He's gonna be like rooting for this dog to survive.
But for me,
Dude, getting a dog has made me such a pussy.
It does. It makes it.
I have cats, so it made me an even bigger pussy. But for me, honestly, the first thing that I really enjoyed was the cloaking. The cloaking
Yeah.
just really set it apart, showed that they really gave a shit about the character. So I did enjoy that. That was my kind of my one thing that I liked quite a bit.
All right, David.
My favorite thing, man, there was a lot in this.
Just
that I
Just
really
one.
like.
2 or 3.
I think the most
Or one.
important one. I'm not going to make my favorite one, but I think it's the most important one. Is the character of Naru herself, because I think we've been. I mean, like the mass audiences and movie audiences have been waiting for us to find a legit, strong female character, right?
She's a fucking badass, dude.
And like after we've been essentially bitch slapped the last couple times, especially with like characters from Marvel and what they did with Sarah Connors in Terminator, I know was a big deal to a lot of people, and everyone constantly said, "When are we going to get a legit strong female character?" And we got it here in this small budget Predator film with Naru. And essentially, when I watched this and I got done with it, I immediately was like going, you know what? This is the type of character that instantly reminded me of Ellen Ripley right off the bat. And that's not to say that, it's a copy of Ellen Ripley. No.
Characters that are interesting are flawed.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
know the answers to all the questions and or problems. They have to work to find solutions. They're not just instantly bestowed the crown of pure authority, wisdom, and reason.
No, Naru had to
Dude,
work
she almost
through
dies.
this. Yeah.
She almost dies in the mud pit.
And
She
she
wasn't-
fucks up. She makes
she
a lot of
fucks up.
mistakes. You even, I don't want to see you get annoyed with her, but there are moments where you're just like, it's not going to work. Just stop.
Yeah, stop.
Which I liked.
Yeah, it makes
Because
her
it's
more
almost like an
human.
underdog story.
Yeah.
It's like she triumphs.
Well, it truly
Exactly.
is. She's facing against the fucking predator.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the very end, essentially, I'm like going, if they did a sequel, and I know Trachtenberg has stated that he has plans for the future of the franchise, that he wants to do things that the franchise has not seen before. So if he does a sequel to Prey and we get Naru again, I like to see Naru also take that next step like Ripley, what Ripley did in Aliens, where in Alien it was her growth into what she was.
yeah.
And in Aliens, Ripley is the most
Fucking
badass
badass.
character.
She don't fuck around.
She don't fuck
Aliens
around. And
is
she's
such a good
surrounded by
movie.
a bunch of Marines, and she sometimes makes the Marines look like wusses.
All the time. All the time.
I just
And
hope they
that's-
call it Too Prey, Too Furious.
Oh, eat shit. Oh my
What, is
god.
that- no?
No.
All right, worth a shot.
But that's what I'm hoping is like we get to actually legitimately see a brand new character that a lot of the
Yeah.
geek culture can get rally behind and say, hey, this is something
She's a
that,
fucking badass, dude.
that we all can embrace now.
She's easy on the eyes, too.
She's very attractive.
I had to do a little bit of Google after.
I know you
haven't
did.
Googled yet,
I
so
know
I'm gonna
you
go ahead
did.
and do that right now.
I trolled her Instagram account.
Oh,
She has a new follower.
I mean, she has a badass name, Mike.
What-
Amber Mid Thunder.
Yeah, I would take her name if I married. Like,
you would take her name?
yeah,
She'd be like, Michael, do you want me to take the floors? No. We're taking
I'll
Mid Thunder.
culturally
Yeah, she-
appropriate her entire life.
Dude, she's hot, dude.
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
like a fucking.
I'd let her
leech.
throw a tomahawk in my forehead.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what that
Oh,
means.
I was
but
like, what?
don't worry about it.
It's a Dom sub thing. Jesus.
it works. Okay, so Thomas.
Yeah. So for me, I would say overall the theme of what I liked the most was the attention to detail, because this to me was an example of people who, if you listen to our Kenobi review, I said this too, give a fuck about the project they're working on. Whether it was finding ways to downgrade the Predator's equipment that didn't make it seem like they were just fighting with sticks, yet somehow had space travel. I liked that. But I would say, piggybacking a lot of what David had said, I really liked what they did with the character development, not just of Naru, as genuinely kind of sucks in the beginning. Can't hit a rabbit, can't hit the deer, it isn't a hunter, fucks up with, a couple of things.
He's
and by
definitely
the end,
not Naru Skywalker.
Exactly. Jesus. But by the end, she's a capable hunter who takes on the Predator. Meanwhile, what I really liked was that the Predator starts cautious and keeps its cloaking on to kill a snake and to kill a wolf. And then by the end, he's just taking bullets. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't use his cloaking. While she went from bad to getting much better, he went from novice, first-time hunter. You kind of got the vibe. First time on Earth. Is a snake deadly? Is a wolf deadly? Moving up to a bear. But by the end, he is arrogant.
Yes.
He doesn't use his shield. He gets in far more physical contact, brawling with her and the other people. He doesn't use the tools at his disposal because he's like, I've beat a bear. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And I like that kind of inverse relationship because it ultimately leads narratively, spoiler, to his downfall.
Yeah.
And I liked that. It's all these little things that showed they gave a flying fuck about how we got here, why this is a believable scenario, why these characters have a bit of a change that wasn't just, yeah, it's a predator, it's a plasma cannon. All right, money, please.
Money, please.
Well, there's
So I'd say overall, the attention to detail is probably what I liked the most.
they studied the hierarchy of the predator, and I think that's one of the best parts. And Mike, you and I discussed this before these guys got here. They looked at what makes a predator a predator. They're not going to kill something that is not a
crab
hunt.
mouth.
Well,
Yeah.
that yes, but they're not going to kill someone that is not a hunt for them or
Right.
sport. And that's
It's
what
always been like that.
It's always been like that, and I think that's what they delve into that quite a bit. He looks at Naru as not a threat at all.
Right.
And she says, "I'm going to make you look at me as
Well,
a threat."
and her own tribe looks at her as not a
Yes.
hunter.
And that's what I loved about this flick is that they did a really good job of using the predator to push their main character into becoming something more than what she was in
What
the
she
beginning
was
of
in
the
the
film.
beginning.
And I think you watch this progression of a character. Her brother is clearly the badass of the tribe. Let's be completely honest. And she eclipses him by not only being a badass, but being smart about being a badass.
Well, I also like how the predator had to be like, was getting kind of wrecked by
Yeah.
her brother. And he's like, you know what,
Yes.
I'm going to cheat with my cloaking. I'm like,
Yeah,
you
right,
little
yeah,
bitch.
you shithead, yeah.
But what I
mean,
liked
that's what
about
I would
that
have
too.
done.
What I liked about that too was that I know this is controversial, but the whole woke concept.
Yes.
The guys in it, some of them are Twatosaurus Rex.
Yes.
But her brother believes in her, stands by her,
Yeah.
is competent, not a douche.
Kind of throws her
Like-
under the bus, but when he brings the lion home and
Oh,
Not
that's-
necessarily
tell
throwing
anybody.
her under the bus. He brought her back first. That's why she was there. They
Yeah.
knew she fucked up, and he still went out and finished it. And he didn't say, "You suck, don't be a hunter." He said, okay, I had to finish
See,
this without you.
I
kinda
took
thing.
that as
Meanwhile,
almost like a teaching aspect.
it was a
Yeah.
teaching, mentoring. Still believes in her, but you're not quite ready.
That's exactly what it
kind of
was.
thing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, asshole.
That guy gets his,
He
don't worry
gets
about it.
his just fine. So I like that because it's not a gender equals success or failure or douchebaggery level.
Yeah.
It's a no, you're just an asshole
I think-
guy, and that's why you get got.
I think another thing that I had to realize, sorry, Mike,
right.
is that this is set in the 1700s.
Right.
Okay. At that time period, spoiler alert, women were treated differently.
Yes.
Okay. You also have to remember in the Comanche tribe, the men were the hunters.
Well, I don't know.
And
anything
the
about
women
that
were
to
the
speak to it.
The women were the gatherers.
We're the gatherers.
That's just how it worked. That was the hierarchy of a tribe like that. So for her to be pushing against that was a big deal. And so for me, like I that's for me personally, I had to take a step back and not go, oh, this is woke, when I had to realize, okay, that's what they're doing.
No, they
with
did a
this.
good job.
Well, it
it's
also
a solid
had-
movie with
Yeah.
a good story.
Yeah, it also helped because, like, going back to her brother, was that you had supportive characters
Right.
for her.
Right.
It wasn't just everyone against this one girl. It was this girl has to learn if she wants to be this, if she wants to
Has
be
to
a hunter.
improve and
She has to
overcome.
improve and
And-
overcome and learn from her brother.
And also, the thing that also just should work as a rebuttal to people that were complaining about this being woke, they have to do their due diligence and read up on the Comanche Nation. No, they are basically the Native American Spartans. They were known
Comanche,
for
yeah.
for riding 1,000 miles across the nation just to slaughter an enemy, and then they would ride home
Jesus.
without sleep.
Yep.
The thing that I really liked, outside of the obvious things I usually gravitate to, like writing and camera or cinematography, and you talked about this a bit, is the prosthetics,
Bro.
the makeup effects, and that's
Yeah.
something that Predator has never suffered from. Even in the last film, There were some CGI aspects, but for the most part, it's all practical. They put so much work into design. And, I mean, not only does it just sell the concept more, I'm glad that this is no longer the mid-2000s when everything was CGI. But we have a real, phone right here. No, we're just going to put that down. We're going to use CGI.
Yeah, let's CGI the phone.
CGI'd everything. And fortunately, the film community and the artists, they found their way back to what really made films last, because CGI never holds up.
No.
Practical effects
rarely holds up.
Yes, practical effects usually holds up. And that's why having this return, true tradition, has helped films. And the Predator film is relying on those practical effects that really make films stand out and look real. It gives us that realism.
I think the thing you got to remember too is like when Stan Winston created the original Predator, okay, I'm sure that suit cost a fortune. Now to make a Predator suit isn't that expensive, and to make it look like it's real. And I don't know if you've seen the behind the scenes photos of the Comanche versus like that scene where he's versus the Comanche.
Oh, it's amazing.
Dude, the suit's unbelievable. Like the Predator suit is unbelievable. The mandibles move, like everything is practical effect. And I think that leads you to really be suspended and in awe of it.
It feels more real because it is real.
Yeah, and I mean,
There's
like,
just
look,
that
like the
tangibility. It's
like
the
Jurassic
tangibility that's there.
my nitpicks aside of the Predator suit, it is very cool looking.
But your nitpicks were just about
They're
things
about
that you
the
were used
design.
to. Like
So, for example, I didn't like his 47 pack he had. I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but he had literally.
Oh yeah.
I didn't
dude,
care about that.
he's a workout bro.
The design is taken from the movie The Predator or The Predators, which I didn't like the super predators in that movie. And I think one of the things that I'm a purist when it comes to the Predator design. So the original you're an ugly motherfucker design is Predator to me.
Yeah, I agree. I did miss that.
I didn't. My nitpicks, and I'll go over these very short because it's stupid shit. The hair was not right. It's too thin. It looked like spaghetti. It should have been the big, thick dreads like the original.
But don't we as humans all have different hair? Like, can't you justify it like that?
I was
you
about to say,
can, but
Ryan.
for me, I'm watching and I'm like, why does his hair look like linguine? Like, it doesn't look right to me. I'm used to the Predator with the beads in his hair.
Yeah.
But again, it's 300 years, so I can step out of that.
Hairstyles change.
Exactly. Hey, maybe the Predator's hair is different. Whatever. I did not like the 6-pack thing he had going, or 42-pack he had going. It looked weird. And the face design. I just never really liked the super predators from Predators. I thought they just didn't look right. But I will say to pair off that, the skull mask was unbelievable.
Oh, the skull mask was awesome.
Yeah.
Super dope. I love the pairing of a trophy with the tech. And I thought, again, what a great the people that looked at the lore of Predator, they always wear their trophies. This is the first time we've ever, besides the Berserker Predator in the Predators who had the jawbone on his mask, this is the first time we've actually seen a trophy as a fucking piece of armor.
Yes.
And I thought that was so rad. But for me, those were my nitpicks. Just little shit that I was like, I could live with or do without it. It didn't really. But let's talk about some of the other things. The fucking arrow gun was sick as fuck. The shout out to the net gun where he nets the dude on and just completely
that was always my
shreds
favorite weapon.
Oh, dope. I mean, wrist blades, come on. It's a staple for every Predator.
But everything was like low tech.
It was.
It was low tech.
It was fucking done so well. Well, low tech.
First gen.
Yeah. But what killed me is the arrow launcher gun. Let's just call it the arrow launcher gun. Still worked off the.
Is that like the impregnation arrow?
Yes. Yeah.
Off the tracker
off
with
the
beads.
tri-beam. Off the tri-beam.
tri-beam.
But they gave it a little twist where each beam could separate and he could hit each beam with the fucking arrow. Amazing. The shield. Dude, I had such a major boner for the shield.
That was one of my favorite.
Part
That was one of my
shield, part
favorite too,
bladed weapon.
Dude, you have to, like you said, he's more visceral. He's more hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
Well, of course he'd have a fucking shield. Makes sense. Dope. the spear that split into a club and a spear.
Yes.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like they did such an amazing job of taking what the Predator is given and low-teching it down 300 years to making it make sense. And
Make it
where it
believable.
makes sense where a Comanche warrior could go toe-to-toe with a Predator for a few blows and not get immediately massacred.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I just a few things before we close out and then we get into rankings. I thought this film used cinematic elements fairly well to
Yes.
convey tone, and that's something that's missing from a lot of these action films. And the fact that Trachtenberg, again, paying attention to that detail and used the tools at his disposal inside that film toolbox that we talk about a lot in these shows, and he created this tone that really helps sell the film. Now, the Predators 2010 had gorgeous cinematography, but Prey didn't just pay attention to like pretty framing and lighting, which is what a lot of Rodriguez did with Predators, but there was a lot of camera movements and lighting that had motivational intent. The use of the dark, for example, the singular flame in that
Yeah.
ocean of
Oh my God,
darkness,
dude, that was awesome.
when she's running through the forest, trying to convey isolation. I'm pretty sure the scene where she was running, I think that just the torch was the only thing lighting
lighting.
that.
It's a crazy throwback to the original movie where he throws the torch on the one fire.
Yeah. So the fact that they were using practical lighting, I'm sure they might have had, maybe they were draping the forest high above, with some diffused ambient lighting. But for the most part, they were relying on that one torch to light that scene, and it just sold the anxiety.
Yeah.
Another strength for me was the film, and this requires a deeper look into, I guess you can say, the unsaid or the not so obvious. And this goes a little bit into film theory. When you take the location, the setting, and the Comanche people, there's an exploration into the nature and the dualistic properties that govern nature as a force or a force of nature. And this is an idea that is strengthened by the attributes, the anthropomorphic attributes assigned to nature's stand-in, which is the predator, which can also be contrasted with the idea of prey. And you have those similarities of the two hunters, Naru and the predator, seeking to prove themselves amongst the chaos of nature. That's a brief analysis, and I could honestly sit down and use film theory and probably write 4 or 5 pages of a lot of elements that I haven't even got into. This guy has an eye for the nuance.
Yes.
And I don't want him to be contaminated. Meaning, I don't want Hollywood to look at him as the next golden boy or the flavor of the month, throw millions of dollars at him, and then he turns into a shitty director that sells out and does nothing but shitty films that rhyme with bore and punder. You know what I mean? Wink, wink.
Man,
So I enjoyed this film quite a bit. I
Yeah.
thought it was very well done. I will say it is, and you can agree or disagree, Ryan. I know you know more about this franchise. I think at this point we know, as far as canon is, we know it's safe to say that the Predator films are all canon still.
Yeah, I don't think
but
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
the
don't-
AVP films now exist seemingly in their own universe because
Yeah.
I believe
Yes.
Prometheus removed AVP from canon as well, right?
Yeah, AVP actually is considered like its own universe now.
Yeah, and-
So and it's a weird thing because AVP has been essentially retconned and put into its own universe. However,
It's
the
funny.
aliens do exist in the world of Predator.
Yeah, so
as long as they cling to the fact that Predator 2 is canon, which we all know it is.
It is now. Yeah.
Right.
Then technically aliens are in this universe still
Yeah,
because we
it's-
saw the skull.
The skull,
Yes.
the
Right.
skull at the end of Predator 2, and then the flintlock pistol from Predator 2 shows up in Prey. So
Yes.
the ixo facto aliens exist in that universe. So I wouldn't say maybe it's a different timeline. AVP is who knows. I wouldn't
A pocket
yeah.
dimension.
I wouldn't
Pocket dimension.
stupid. I wouldn't completely rule it out, but I think By the way, that the flintlock pistol showing up was dude. I jumped off the car. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Oh, quickly fill people in what that is.
So at the end of Predator 2, after Danny Glover whoops the shit out of the Predator,
Yes.
the elder Predator shows up, which is dope. And if you haven't seen it, then you're missing out. But he basically challenges like 10 Predators to a fight, and they all were like, "Nah, bitch, we don't want a piece of you." And the elder Predator throws him a pistol, and it is from 1715. And is a flintlock pistol, and the name on it, I don't remember the name. It's like Rudolph
Raphael Andolini.
There you go.
Okay, so wasn't that supposed to signal the next sequel?
Yes.
Yes.
Weren't they
and
gonna
no.
Weren't they gonna do a prequel?
They thought about.
They
Doing
thought
something
about
like
it a
that.
long time ago, but it got canned because at the time everyone was like thinking like you're planning to do a period piece with the Predator franchise,
Right?
which would be impossible.
And
Back
also,
then.
I believe Predator 2 did not perform well.
it
No,
did,
it
and it was
not as well.
Not as
So
well.
its budget was estimated between 20 and 30 million, and it only made 57 million.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not
compared
good.
to the first one, which had a budget of 15 to 18 million and made 98.
Yeah,
And the thing you have
that's
to
a win
remember
there.
too, the reason that Predator 2 didn't do well because Arnold wasn't in it,
yes.
hands down, and that was over $300,000 was a dispute that he didn't show up in the movie, which is stupid. It's the dumbest thing that's ever happened in film to this day.
wow.
That's it.
That's
it.
the
That's the
crowning
thing.
achievement.
What
That-
about I raise you, somehow Palpatine survived.
Okay, fair enough. But that pistol obviously shows up. I think one of the trappers gives it to her.
the guy
The guy that loses his leg,
translator.
right?
Wing.
And then gets fucking absolutely annihilated by the fuck, which was sick, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm glad all those fuckers.
They deserve to die.
They deserve
Just
to die.
skinning buffalo and
Yeah.
fuck faces. They deserve to die. Every single one.
Okay, that moment when we saw the skinned buffalo,
I was pissed.
I got a little annoyed because the Predators don't do that.
Yes.
That they in a sense they
made you think
a
it was
moral
them.
code.
they have a type of honor.
Well, they did that to make you think it was the Predator.
Yes.
Because
Right.
he skins people alive,
Right.
right? In Predator 2.
Right.
They did that to make you think, and then you go, "Oh fuck, it's humans," because humans suck.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
and that was the thing back then. The skinners were
the
skinning
bear
buffalo.
traps was a good
Yeah.
setup
Again,
for
it's
that
smart
too.
writing.
Yeah, it's great writing.
Incredible writing.
So the pistol shows up, which connects Predator 2 to the whole entire franchise, which
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I was literally Leonardo DiCaprio. Like I was like, "Oh my god, oh that's from this." Like, and I don't know and I told Mike this. I don't know if you guys noticed, but when she's in the bog and she's trying to get herself out, the
Yeah.
tree that she throws against is the same tree that Arnold braces up against.
Braces
in
up
the
against.
first movie.
Yeah.
However,
I
you-
recognize the shot. I didn't recognize
right,
the
you do
tree.
realize one thing. What the biggest question when I realized that was the flintlock pistol, that means it has to get into the possession now.
Well, that's
Of
that
the-
end
of the-
credits. That end credits
Yeah,
scene.
of the elder predator.
Yes.
Which doesn't bode well for Naruto.
No, it doesn't.
The end credits artwork
Was very
might
cool.
explain
was
some
very
of that.
well, yeah.
Well, I love how they did that too. Nice nod to cave paintings with indigenous people. I thought that was very, very cool how they did that. Because I was like, oh, there's got to be some sort of like after credit scene, right?
Yeah.
And they did it through the credits,
Mhm.
through the glyphs.
There was definitely some thought being put into this film.
It really
like I said,
was.
There's a lot of
Which
thought
is such
goes
a-
into it, which is nice.
It's
Which
so
is cool.
refreshing.
It's very refreshing.
Yeah. All right, so we're running out of time. So quickly, I need every single one of you to rank the Predator films
Okay.
from best to worst.
Okay.
And you, of course, yeah,
I'm gonna
right.
go first.
Yeah.
Predator, obviously. This is fucking. No, none of these are even close. Predator, probably Prey. I'm gonna give Predator 2 a little bit higher than probably everyone else, just because I like Danny Glover in that movie and Gary Busey. Predators with Adrian Brody. I liked AVPR.
Don't leave them out.
They don't count?
Yeah, don't leave-
Okay.
yeah, leave them out.
And honestly, dude, I'm not even going to rank the one that just came out in 2018 because it was absolute dog shit.
So it's not even on a list.
It's not even on my list.
It just
Which
it
in
you don't
exists.
recognize that
No,
bullshit
it-
MC.
No, it fucking exists somewhere else. It's honestly like Kingdom of Crystal Skull. Doesn't exist.
That movie exists. Stop.
It's unnecessary hate, I think.
Okay, Thomas.
Very similar. The first Predator's the best by far. I'd probably put this one because of its cinematic elements, because of how well thought it is, because of how nicely it fits into everything. I think it's got a lot of rewatchability, much like the first one. So essentially, like, what if we just did that plot again, but in a different setting? Which, as simple as it is, it's also a pretty solid fucking answer to this entire franchise. So Predator, Prey. I agree with Ryan. I put Predator 2 above Predators. I had problems. I like the idea more than I like the execution, I think, of Predators. And I was never a big fan of the subspecies of super.
How dare you?
Because that felt like
I love that.
That feels
aspect.
like an 8-year-old's answer. It's like, well, I'm a super predator with an everything-proof shield.
He's not
I'm
wrong.
like, all right.
Okay, when you say it like that, yes, but
I'm like, that's fucking dumb.
but the idea that there's more than one species, that's what I liked.
That's
I
what I
like
like,
the
yeah.
expansion of the cosmology. You know, that's what I live for.
I can understand that. It didn't gel for me, but I can understand that.
Whatever, dude.
And then I have not seen The Predator, but apparently I don't need to.
No, don't.
So-
No, don't watch it. It'll
so,
piss you off.
So it doesn't exist. It really
Exactly.
doesn't.
It really does. So far, it's not on the list.
It'll piss you off. Piss me
Okay,
off.
David.
I'm a little different than Ryan. It's basically Predator, Predator 2. I will put Prey at 3. Very close. Predators is right after that. And then
You put Predator and Predator 2 above Prey?
I have a soft spot.
Dude, you're
for
rating it on
Predator 2.
nostalgia. I come on.
Well,
Predator
that's the
2
thing
is
with,
not bad.
with Predator
think you're
and Predator
wrong.
2. for
Predator
me,
2 builds the world with the ship
Exactly.
and the skulls.
Yeah,
and the
dude.
pistol.
Without
It
Predator
does.
2, Prey doesn't work
Want some
to
candy?
me. Because like the elements that basically dragged me into Prey were from Predator 2. So I still can't
Can't
put Prey.
discount it.
I can't discount it. But I can discount
You
the
can't discount
Predator.
Last Jedi, but it still doesn't make
Yes,
it
you
a good
can.
Shut
movie.
up. You
Yeah,
can
yeah, you
shut
can.
up, Mike.
But hey, we're allowed to discount the Predator, Mike.
Well, that's because I agree.
Just like The Last Jedi.
But yeah, that's my list.
Okay. I like how all these. I'm the only one gonna be weird here. I like Prey number 1.
You are fucking
Over the
wrong.
original?
Nope, I don't even care the
No,
rest.
listen, hold on.
All
Predator is amazing. Like I love it, but it's an '80s action
doesn't
film
matter.
Yeah.
that I love and I adore that genre and that era. But if you place this movie on a scale, an
No.
academic scale,
Oh,
it-
you're
it-
looking at it as a film,
it,
filmmaker.
it pales in comparison,
I'm
a
taking
film
my
critic.
headphones off. You lost me.
but not by a lot. I mean,
because I was gonna say,
I would
Mike,
be
I mean,
okay if you put them on this, like if they were number 1. I'd be okay with that.
no, it's Prey number 1, Predator number 2, Predators is number 3, The Predator is number 4, and Predator 2 is.
You like the Predator?
Dude, why do you
are a
always have to be the
liar.
one
Why
who
do you-
bougies your shit up
why do you
just
like
to be
the Predator?
controversial? He does this just to be controversial and piss me off. I know that's what he's doing.
It's not
No,
true.
no. What I want to
I
know, what I wanna
don't
know
like
is,
Predator 2.
what is it with
now
the
hold on.
Predator,
To be
though?
fair, I haven't watched Predator 2 in probably 20 years.
but Mike, give
Because
me-
I watched it a lot when I was a kid and I fucking hated it. I didn't like it. I thought it was cheesy. I thought it was hokey. You're in the city fighting against some random who's supposed to be the replacement like Arnold.
Did you ever play Predator Concrete Jungle?
No, I just didn't
Yeah.
like
See,
it.
I was fine with the concrete
And
jungle
maybe now that we've had AVP, you have a woman fighting a predator, which makes that type of woman a business woman
Yeah.
who's a scientist, can learn how to fight
with a
overnight.
with a
overnight.
spear made out of an alien
Yeah,
tail.
and then AVP
Her fighting
Requiem.
was never the selling point on that for me.
It may be because we have other people now fighting predators that are not just some big old giant muscle bound dude. Because I believe that was my problem as a kid. I was like, there's no way. Come on, give me a break. This guy's not killing anyone. Now we see a Comanche girl going after predator. Maybe I would look at it differently. So I will
that
say
was
that.
never a down. That was never a point against it being Danny Glover, because I was never.
I think the
an
gangbanging
Arnold-
thing bothered me too. There's the gangbangers. It just felt odd. And
Did you feel attacked?
You had an
You
alien.
felt
no, no,
attacked.
you had an
You felt
alien
attacked.
ship cloak in the middle of an urban city. It just felt like
The 80s was when it was developed, Cocaine was a hell of a drug, as they say.
Yeah, there's a cocaine guy in the movie.
Now,
That made me laugh
now,
so fucking hard.
we do
when I
got to
saw
close out, but interestingly, we got to give out our scores. But Rotten Tomatoes has it in my order too. Prey was 92%. Predator is 80%. Predators is 65%. The Predator
You
is
just
33. No, I'm not. Predator 2 is 32%. I opened this up after I wrote down my rankings.
Uh-huh.
And this was
Why would I go by Rotten Tomatoes?
cheater.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing because I have no original thought.
Unbelievable. You hurt my feelings. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
I just think that's funny. Even the Predator is ahead of Predator 2 here on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
Well,
Requiem is crap.
I don't think it's crap. I think you're wrong.
And you know what? I agree with you on that. So
The
it's
razor
weird.
whip
I would
fucking
actually
thing
put.
is so dope.
I would actually put that film.
Requiem's better than AVP.
I'd put it in front of.
Disagree.
1000%.
I would put it in front of Predators 2.
I actually probably would too, to be honest with you.
I didn't have a problem with this movie. I thought it was really cheesy and B filmish,
So
but that
boring.
was the
that was the
razor
glory of it.
charming.
Dude,
That's
the razor
that was
whip was
charming
fucking
aspect.
sick.
You have an Alien versus Predator where there's only one Predator.
Yeah,
There's no tension.
Yeah, why is there no tension? He
Because
just,
he wins every fight, so I
doesn't-
go into it bored.
but he doesn't. He dies.
Hey Ryan,
He ties.
give me your score, just quick. No final thoughts.
93%.
Really
I thought it was really well done.
good for you. All right, Dave, what would you give Predator?
That's
95%.
100%. It's 100.
Okay.
It's a perfect film. There is literally nothing wrong.
That's a perfect film. So biased, David.
True. I know.
I'm gonna go with an 89 on it.
Okay, Thomas.
I'd go with an 86. I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay, I go with an 89%. I liked the movie. I thought
I
it
liked
was
it.
great. I thought it was really good.
It's not 100 though.
You know what would have made it a 97%
What?
for me?
If Arnold showed up,
I'm all about authenticity.
okay.
The entire thing
Listening
should
to
have been in
subtitled Comanche.
subtitles.
I agree.
There is a version that
But,
is.
but it's dubbed. It's not actual.
well, you're not going to shoot the whole movie twice, but
I'm just saying.
Still.
it should have been shot Comanche. They should have not spoken any English.
I never understood the argument with that. Like, why people it should have been in X language. Why are they talking X language? I'm like, you're also watching a movie. Can't you just interpret that
I
maybe you're
understand it, too.
Can't you
Like,
just enjoy the movie?
Doctor Who did a great thing where it's like, oh no, they're speaking their language. You can just understand
That's
it
what
because
Star
of the
Trek does.
technology
Yeah.
we're
Yes.
around.
Yeah.
Just go with that's how I've always interpreted it.
I'm okay with that too.
I liked
but
the French people speaking French, and then when he talks to her, I assumed it was Comanche. I'm watching a movie at the same time.
But the
I agree
subtitles
with
say
you.
English, though.
Yes, I agree with you normally.
because you're in the real world.
No,
watching
no,
in
it
English.
designates it, meaning when
Yes,
they
that
speak
means that,
Comanche,
yes,
they say
it's-
Comanche. So they're distinct. They're drawing
Distinguishing
distinction.
it.
Yeah, distinguishing
The-
between.
here's
Well,
the
then
thing.
just
I
yell at
know
the
why
subtitle guy.
I know why they do it. The problem is in today's day and age, so many people watch anime with subtitles
Oh, yeah.
that it
There's a
doesn't
lot
matter.
of weebs. We understand.
Yeah, so like you could have done it in Comanche and nobody would give a shit.
a
And
lot
it-
of people would have given a shit. Let's get real.
I don't think so, dude. Not
See,
Most
I-
people can't read.
Well, right. This movie isn't.
I
this
think there
movie
would have
isn't
been.
made
I think
for
there
them.
would have been backlash too.
There would have been
Yeah,
backlash.
There's
there
a
would
lot
have been
of-
backlash.
I do agree with
great
Ryan.
idea. It's a great place to want to come from. It would not have done well.
I do agree with Ryan that people have come on board
I've been watching
and,
subtitles
and
for
they
7
are
years,
willing
10
to
years now.
read a little bit more. This isn't, 2007 and people went to go rent Pan's Labyrinth and they cried,
How dare it
relentlessly
be in-
about, the movie
Having to
having
read.
subtitles. But there's still a large population. You got to think about it. This movie is,
This is your large popcorn,
yeah,
extra butter, but with a small Diet Coke to counteract it. Audience.
right.
Trust me, I worked in a movie theater. That happened all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so having it in the original language would have been cool. To this day, and this reference I'm going to bring up. To this day, the best way they made us ignore or look past the language
13th
barrier
Warrior.
was 13th Warrior.
Yes.
Where Antonio Banderas' character is just sitting by a
That's a
fire for
movie.
5 minutes, and we're taking in his surroundings, so the audience isn't getting bored, and
Yep.
you see him listening to them talk, and then within the next, we assume hours
He just
go by,
learns.
he suddenly understands their language.
I
Yeah,
would agree
that's-
with you, Thomas, if this movie were released in theaters. But because it was released on Hulu, I don't think there would have been that much backlash because it was released on Hulu. If it was released in theaters, there would have been people going, "Oh my god, I went to go see this movie. It was
I
subtitled."
still think
I'm telling you, it being released and streaming would have let that backlash be a lot less because most degenerate moron troglodytes aren't going to stream a movie on Hulu because it was directly to Hulu. I think I'm telling you,
I disagree.
I'm
I
telling
think we
you
still
that's what
need
would have
to
happened.
live in a business-based world when it comes to this. And just because Screen Rant wrote 7 articles about one movie in a fucking day, or that Twitter really likes something, doesn't mean the average mainstream person is going to be on the same wavelength.
And that's why those people should all be kicked off a bridge like Sparta.
I'm saying it's a nice idea, but you still need to have people watch the thing.
Nah.
Okay.
I don't
All right.
I don't
On
care
that
about
note,
You don't need to watch it, apparently.
Nah, don't watch it.
all right. So that's about, I'd say, a studio 90 probably, if it was all rounded out, divided. Yeah. So not a bad grade. It's a good film. I do suggest people check it out. If they decide to do a limited theatrical run, I will be there.
I will go
I'll
see
be there.
it. I will go
I'll be
see
there.
it.
And the one disappointment about being on streaming, though, is that it takes a long time for us to have access to a 4K copy. And I like the behind the scenes on these types of movies. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to have that deep look into the film for a long time. Okay, this brings us to the end. Thank you, everyone. Later.